Hey everybody, welcome back to the Siren podcast. I have a few things to talk about before we get started tonight. So I'm hosting a live event. It's going to be on June 6th, and it's a live listen party. It's live listen party number 3. So I'm going to be playing local-ish artist music. So as long as you're not on Universal Records or Sony Records or something, you can submit a song to me and I'll play it. So this can be you recording yourself with your phone. It can be a professional recording. It can be you playing a cover song if you want. So just make sure and get them sent in to me, and I will need them a few days before so I can make sure and get everything ready to go before the show. So make sure and send those to me. You can send them to me at AAmbulance@gmail.com with 2 A's. If you have any questions, you can just message me over on Facebook at Ambulance Studios with 2 A's as well. I'm also hosting a Tasty Riff challenge this time, so it's not going to be a contest. Last time I kind of felt that people might have been intimidated to submit a song or something like that. That's not what I want. I just want to see everybody in the area playing their instruments. So it's keyboard, drums, bass, fiddle, whatever you want to do. Any kind of instruments. If you're just singing, I don't care. Send it in. So just a 20-second clip. It does not have to be a well thought out, performed thing. I had a lot of people say they didn't have time to think of anything. Just take your phone out, point it at your instrument, and play it for 20 seconds. Let's all, participate. It'll be fun, have a big compilation video during the live stream. Had a lot of people do it last time, and it was really fun. So make sure and do that. Also, if you want to just send in some art you're working on, if you're an artist or if you do anything cool, send it in and I'll showcase it on the podcast. So it doesn't have to be music, whatever you want. Just local people showing off their talent. How about that? That sounds good. We'll do it that way. Also, another thing is, I know a lot of people have merch and stickers and t-shirts and things like that. And as much as I'd love to go and buy everybody's, I can't buy everybody's shirts and stuff. But if you want me to promote it, send it in to me. You don't have to send me an actual physical shirt, but if you want to send me a shirt or a sticker or something, I will wear it on my show and talk about it. If you can't afford to give one away right now, I understand that as well. Just send a picture of it or a link or something, and I will show it off on my show. Lastly, make sure and send out your announcements to me. So if you have a new CD coming out, if you have shows coming up, if anything that you want people to know about, give it to me. I will be that siren. There you go. For you and your band or your art or your business, whatever. So I'm not strictly a music channel. I am just a musician myself. So feel free to send in anything to me and I will help you promote and build your brand or whatever you're doing. Just get in contact with me. So make sure and do all those things. Send your tasty riff to Ambulance Studios with 2 A's at gmail.com and send in your song, artwork. If you have a delicious hamburger that you cooked and took a picture of, send it in. Whatever, send it in. It's a community over here at the Siren Podcast and Ambulance Studios. So with all that out of the way, let's just get right to it. My guest today is one of my favorite photographers in the area. He takes fantastic photos of all kinds of stuff, but a lot of musicians. So if you've seen any musician photos on the internet recently, it's probably one of his. He's been all over the country taking pictures. He's also got car pictures and all kinds of stuff. So it's Chad Edwards of MCE Photography. So fantastic photographer. We talk about all kinds of stuff, how he got started. He also kind of his main gig, what he does besides photography, and actually go and we talk about his actual photos. So I picked out some that I really liked and he picked out some that he really liked, and we just went through and talked about them. So had a really great time talking to him. He's a real interesting guy, really good guy to talk to. So let's just get right into the show, what you're all here for. Ladies and gentlemen, the fantastic Chad Edwards of MCE Photography. All right, we're live. Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for getting me here.
Oh, yeah. So I initially saw your work when the whole brewery thing was going on, and
Yeah.
I myself am a photographer. I have a little photography business that I do on the side. It's part of
Oh, right
AAmbulance
on.
Studios. So at that point, I was, looking at other photographers, and I kept seeing MCE photography, and I was like, "Holy shit, this stuff is so good!" And I was like, it made me
Oh, wow.
Thank
Thank you.
second guess myself. I was like, man, maybe I'm not that good. But, I thought I was pretty good, and I saw this stuff, and and ever
Thank you.
since then, you're welcome, man. Ever since then, I've been following you and checking out your stuff, and everything that comes out is awesome. I actually used. I hope I was allowed to do this. I credited you, but I used your photo for the Gator fight
Oh, yeah.
ad, the one you took at Nick's,
Knits.
where they're sitting on the toilet. That was a great picture. I did
Oh,
credit
yeah.
you. It's got
You can't, hello, there's toilets. It's like, if you don't do a band photo at some point, something's wrong.
yeah, that was awesome. So yeah, you do
Thank you.
fantastic work.
And I have to say, much thanks to, obviously Kenny Paul that had Slow Boat Brewery, because he kind of was very welcoming me of shooting photos, and I was, going to shoot photos or not, but I think it was his idea to put them on the wall there, and that's really cool that he did that. And I've met a lot of people just from that, so
yeah,
I'd say.
We've got the video working now. We're good to go. But yeah, the brewery.
That too ain't bad.
I cannot say brewer.
Brewery.
The brewery. Was a cool place. I only went there a couple times when I was in Laurel, but it was a cool place. I was there for Laurel and a few bands. Went and watched them while they were there. I hate that closed. Talking
And
with,
what? It's a crazy place because man, you wouldn't think it, but that place had the best sound. Like drum, I've never. I mean, that it was just wild how much some brick and some people and a little bit of wood made that place sound great.
yeah,
But yeah, miss it, and it was a beautiful thing while I was there.
yeah, it was cool, man. Definitely a cool place.
Yeah, it was
Um,
good beer too. Damn, hell.
so did they stop making the beer and everything as well? I wasn't
Mm,
sure how all that worked, but
yeah.
uh,
Well, I can say not to brag, but I think I had Kenny's beer way before he had a brewery. So if I'm not mistaken, he was brewing it way before he had the brewery. And I think I liked that Madman way before I knew it was a Madman.
hmm.
Anyway, yeah. So.
I made beer one time, uh, and it wasn't awesome. So it was
I never have.
it's
I
a
don't drink a beer anymore, but
it's a
I miss it.
process. Yeah,
I miss Kenny's beer.
maybe he'll make you some.
Yeah, I hope. No.
Um, so what got you into photography in the first place?
I don't know. I've always had a camera. I mean, I'm of the age where when I was a kid, just everybody had a camera. It's funny. I was just having this conversation with somebody earlier, but and it's funny that you say that because I was just looking at a photo that I have here, which is this is. I've always had a camera. It's just something I I would sneak cameras into concerts when I went to concerts as a kid. My mom would drop me off at the Coliseum. I was like 11 or 12, and I'd have a little, cheap camera and try to take a photo and probably use the flash. Nothing ever came out. They were all terrible photos. But yeah, I always had a camera, and it was just something that I had. And which actually, here, I'll show you this. This is me. Wait. If you could see, look, I got a camera on my.
I
Just
see
like when
you.
I was 11, I think. Me and Dobie Gray, and that's here in Laurel. Anyway, so I've always had a camera, but I never knew I was going to be a photographer. And then, always done the art, always done music. Uh, and then one thing just led to another, and I started just posting them online. I think it was like Flickr at the time, is when I was sharing photos, I think, back 2007, 2006, 2005, maybe. And I got an email one day from a publishing company in New York City, and they wanted to use a photo for a chapter opener of a book about this murder in New Orleans right after Katrina, which was a true story. And I just happened to take a photo of the spotted cat on Frenchman Street because I used to stay at my friend's. Would rent the place during Jazz Fest, so I would stay there. And I just walked out one day, took a photo, black and white, put it on Flickr, tagged it pretty good. And they wanted to use it for chapter opener, and then I was like, "Well, shit, okay." And then I went on the road with bands, and I started, road managing, and it was like, "Well, I'll take photos while I'm on the road with bands, blah blah blah." Because I've just always enjoyed rock and roll photos, and because back when I was a kid, the only way to see anything with a band was hopefully in a magazine, with a live, photo. It was like a so. And then I started road managing bands, and then things happened, and then I started road managing this one guy, Grayson Caps, who I'm still with today. Well, we're on a little hiatus right now.
Yeah.
But and he paid me he paid me to do band photos, and I was like, damn, all right, well, this is cool. And then people asked me to do photos, and I did a wedding photo, and I swore I'd never do one again, and I didn't for a while, for like 10 years and 9 years. And but I don't know, man. It's just I've always had a camera. I've always just seen little moments, and then it's funny because I started hanging out in New Orleans in I've always gone to New Orleans, but early 2000s, I started hanging out with some people in New Orleans, and they all happened to be photographers, which is not by anything but chance. And I just happened to be, I don't know how it happened. It just something that happened and started making money, and people started publishing it. I don't know, man. It's been a crazy. It's still surreal to me at times that I see my photos in places and people like it. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, if you're good at it, then usually people will flock to it. And you're really good at it. So I mean,
well, thank you.
It's just people notice that. So you shoot Nikon. Why do you?
I do.
Why do you shoot Nikon over? Because that what you have?
Well, I just because that's what I yeah. I mean, basically, that's what I. Honestly, I don't even know why I started shooting Nikon, but I know I pretty much honestly before. I mean, I had cameras all my life, just whatever, cheap, and then actually 2001 I bought like a Minolta.
Mm-hmm.
Film camera, some nice lenses, put some money into it, and did that for a little bit. But it's like 2003, got like a Kodak Easy Share. It's like 3 megapixels.
Wow.
And then, Sony CyberShot or Sony, whatever it was like 6 or 8 megapixels. And then I just got Nikon, and then that's just what I, just what I stuck with, just because that's kind of how I am, I guess. So yeah, I just stuck with Nikon. And plus I've known, there's just been somewhere I've kind of known about Nikon my whole life, more so than anything. I don't know, but that's just what I've stuck with, just what I started with. And
yeah, my dad, I don't know, like if he wasn't like a professional photographer, but he was really into photography back in the film days. And he shot Nikon. That was what he shot. I shoot Canon, just because the first camera I got was a Canon, and then I just stuck with Canon. So.
See, yeah, people are like ask me all the time, "What about this camera?" I'm like, I don't know anything about any other camera but mine. Hell, I don't even know half the shit on mine. And it's like I can't. Crap. Sorry. Anyway,
no, it's fine. What I like about a lot of your photos is it looks as if you shoot with, I'm gonna guess the lens that you shoot with the most, and I bet it's a 24 to 70.
You're close. No,
or the 60.
It's actually, it's hard to say. Probably most. I don't know. It's but I'll have 3 lenses that I really, and it's the 14 to 24 2.8, which is my it's my wide angle thing. Mm-hmm. And then my 50 1.4, which is I love it. Yeah. That's my baby. That's my favorite lens ever. And then the macro 105 millimeter 2.8. Which I love, man. That macro is great, man. At first, I was kind of like, oh, I don't know. And then I fell in love with it, man, because I started shooting little wildflowers. Mm-hmm. So, like, I have a whole totally new perspective on little flowers, and that you can't see what it is until you get super close.
Yeah. I've been wanting to get one of those macro up close lenses.
I love it, man. I love it. And plus, too, if you don't want to use the Mac, you can still shoot good photos with it anyway, like portraits and stuff or whatever.
I've seen a lot of people suggest that for video.
Oh, yeah. me, but you know, it's whatever. I don't
Yeah.
have I just do whatever. There's no rule book, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Just mix it up. You ain't got to do anything the right way.
Yeah, that's one of the things I like is a lot of your photos are shot um, up close but wide, so it gives it kind of an intimate feel, especially um, like if someone's in a hotel room or sitting on a couch or something like that. It lets you
Yeah,
feel like you're up
yeah,
close to the person and see the background at the same time. It's a
yeah,
cool style. I
yeah.
like it.
Thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I like that 14 to 24. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Um, but I actually, funny, I dropped it. It was like 2 years ago. Jesus, I dropped it, and so it doesn't get above 16. It's like 14 to 16 is about all I got on. Because I'm just lucky it didn't break. You know, the glass is okay, but
Yeah.
God, I'm telling you, I got the worst luck sometimes.
Well, I mean, you got a little bit of an option.
Yeah,
A
it's
little
right,
bit.
but I mean, you know, it's like, well, and I have to think, well, okay, you can crop it. There's that, but it's like, you know, 90% of the time when I'm shooting, I'm not thinking of cropping it later.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I feel you on that one, man. Um,
in the moment,
yeah, a lot of times if I take a picture, I just what they call, I guess, spray and pray. Sometimes just hope you get something good. I mean, if
yeah,
somebody's on stage rocking out, you're just like, I mean, a lot of times you can't plan. You can't plan at all. But
yeah, you don't have. There's a lot. Yeah, it's like, yeah, you just gotta like. It's a lot of times, you know, if you're in proper situations where you have to shoot, you know, the first three songs, you know, of a band, it's like it's kind of hard. You know, you got to get as much as you can while you're in those three songs. You know,
yeah,
because in the course of a night, if you're not the official photographer and you know you've only got three songs, you know, that's like a band plays for 2 hours, hour and a half, whatever. You know, they do a lot of, you know, there's moments at the end that are way better. You know, it's like, man, you know,
yeah,
but I don't. Yeah, so you got to like get down there and like do it like a machine gun as much as you can because it's free and it ain't film.
yeah. I've never shot on a film camera. I feel like that's
Yeah, you gotta. It's
a
yeah.
lot harder to. Well, I mean, you got what 30 shots, and you got to put another roll in, and then
Mm-hmm.
pay to develop that and all that stuff.
Yeah, I did. That was about early 2000s. I did a lot of live music photos with my film camera, and was and I try to think back on them. Like I don't even I'm like, did I even know what I don't even know if I mean, some of the photos are good, but a lot of times I had good light, so that made it easy. But I happened to be friends with guys in New Orleans who had bands, so I would shoot photos, and some of them came out pretty good, but not really. I don't even know if I knew. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't really know I still don't know what I'm doing. I didn't really then, but yeah, I had to. You have, with film, you have to kind of, you really have to know what you're. Can't waste.
Yeah,
Film,
especially
especially
focus and all that stuff.
nowadays. It's like really expensive. Film's definitely not as cheap as it was.
Yeah,
So.
there's some people that love film still though.
Oh yeah, man! I got friends that shoot film, man. I love it too. I have a this OM1 over here. It's Olympus. That's a
Hmm.
pretty cool 35 millimeter that I love, but it works for like a couple rolls of film,
Hmm.
and then then I shot like 4 or 5 rolls of black and white film that I bought off Amazon and spent some money on, and none of them came out. It was so embarrassing, especially when I went to pick up the film, because I'm like, man, I'm just a photographer, and then they just said none of the film. I'm like, oh my god, I felt so embarrassed. Like they didn't know what I did,
Yeah.
but I felt embarrassed because I'm like, I'm a photographer, and I just shot like 5 rolls of film, and nothing came out.
Well, yeah,
I haven't used it since.
I'm
I don't
pick,
know what's wrong with it. I don't. It worked for like two. I don't know. I put a new battery in it. I don't. Maybe I did that. I don't. Whatever. But yeah.
oh yeah. Take it to a camera store or something.
It's nice, man. OM1, there's a lot of famous photos shot on those OM1s.
Look, this is kind of off topic, but kind of on topic. Have you ever seen Jeff Bridges? Um,
Yes, panoramic shots.
yeah,
Is
those
that what you're
things.
saying?
Yes, those
Oh
are
my
so
god.
good.
Yeah, that film. It's like it's kind of like in digital world. You got to go,
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's
I saw those, man. That was
yeah,
badass.
it was
Yeah,
just
he's
out of
great. I
nowhere. I was like,
love
I didn't
those.
know he was a photographer.
Yeah.
There's
Mm-hmm.
one where he's like on the set of something, and there's like a guy hanging in a tree behind him, and I think it's a portrait, like a self portrait of him. Um, that one's really good. There's a lot of good
My
ones.
favorite's obviously the Big Lebowski ones, but
Oh
you
yeah,
know, I'm just biased to that.
yeah.
Or Tron, whatever.
Oh yeah, he had Tron too. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That stuff's really good. So, you're also a tour manager. How's that work? And you said that was more of your main gig, really?
Yeah,
Or
man, that's been my for uh 13 years now. As of February 2007. It's the first. Yeah, as of now, it ain't doing nothing. March 8th. It's oddly enough, crazy enough. It's so weird. But March 8th was the last music gig I had with the guy I road managed, Grayson Corky Hughes, Grayson Caps, which happened to be at the Frog Pond in Laurel, Alabama, which happened to be also with the other people that I've road managed on the road for the past 13 years, which uh, Jeff Mosier from Blue Ground Undergrass Crime Rescue Unit, that's who first hired me to go on the road in 2007. Not knowing me, met me at set break and was like, hey, you want road manage? I'm like, sure, okay. And then that's that's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing it. All this kind of because of Jeff. And then I started working with Lee Boys for Miami after that, and then Grayson's drummer, John lives here in Laurel, and his drummers lives here in Laurel. So, um, and that's what I've been doing for the past 13 years, and it's been kind of weird because the March 8th, and then so Jeff was there, and then Roosevelt from the Lee Boys. So it was like my last gig was with all the people that I've been on the road with for the past 13 years, and they've never played a gig together. So Grayson and Roosevelt's came and sat us and in with us in like New Orleans during Jazz Fest, but Mosier and Grayson and Roosevelt have never been on stage together, and that was my last music gig. Um, but it's been kind of weird, man. It's just the longest I've been off in like 13 years. It's weird.
yeah, a lot of people are saying the same thing, especially in the entertainment type industries and stuff. So,
Yeah.
but
I know, I've got a lot of friends that have music venues. I have a lot of friends that, are lighting people, sound people, own venues or like work it, it's, you know, I, I'm one of thousands of people that don't know what the hell is going on.
yeah,
But yeah, it's kind of limbo. But yeah, that's been my main gig, man, and love it.
what? So what does that entail? I know like um, some tour managers are over like the food, where we're going, talking to the people at the gigs, collecting
Right.
money. Is that what you
Pretty
do? Or,
much.
so
Pretty
you?
much. Yeah. That's yeah. I mean, the less anybody in the band has to worry about that shit.
Hmm.
That's the um. Yeah, you do everything but kind of play the music, which I've had to do that too sometimes.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's make sure they have stuff back. It's make sure everything's taken care of, and distance to the next gig and itinerary and where we're staying and food, and if we get buyouts or if they're getting food for us or um yeah, anything like that. Make sure that everybody's comfortable and sometimes I'll do the lights at gigs, or I'll do the merch too, and pretty much do everything that the band doesn't have to do, that they don't need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been I've been in bands half my life, and I've been around bands most of my life. So I kind of, I'm a rock and roll kid. I think I have that little part to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I love it, man. I love it. I love being on the road. I love everything. I love the weirdness. Lack of sleep. I love being at hotels. People put us up on the road, people we don't even know, like, hey, come stay at our house or blah, blah. I love it, and usually I get the kids' room or something weird like that, which is fine. As long as my guys get to sleep in a nice bed, I'm cool.
Yeah.
And the kid comes in the room like, what are you doing? I'm like, parents told me I could sleep here.
So, speaking of staying at people's houses, we played a show one time and there was this guy, and I don't know if he was just new to it all or what, but he booked us like out of state. So we drove over there and he said, hey man, we're going to have, food for you and a place to stay and all this stuff. So we get over there and it was just a shit show of a show. Like nobody was there. He brought in a band from New Jersey and couldn't pay them. It was a shit.
That's always
show.
fun.
So he was like, "Hey, I got a place for you guys to stay." So we followed him over to this house and we go in and he's like, "Y'all can just sleep in the living room here. That's fine." So it's 4 of us and we're sleeping in the living room and all of a sudden the lights come on and there's just some random girl standing there and she's like, "Who the fuck are you guys?" And he just like. He just set us up at somebody he knew's house, but didn't tell them that we were staying there. So we're just like asleep in our, like sleeping bags, being like, "Don't you know this guy?" She's like, "Yeah, but what are you guys doing here?" It was crazy. We ended up leaving.
That's an awkward situation.
We've
had some fun, awkward situations on the road.
Yeah.
And they've all turned out really good, but they've been awkward for a minute. But it's always been like, oh, it's going to make a good story one day, dude.
It will. It sucks at the time, but later it's good to have those.
Oh, yeah. It's, I love it. I love stuff like that, man. I mean, and I miss it, but it's fine. Maybe we all need a good reset button for a little bit.
Yeah, I think maybe once all this passes, hopefully it passes soon, there'll be like a new, even bigger, like, let me think of the word, like, I guess, can't think of the word, like people wanting to go out. There'll be like a rejuvenation or something of people wanting to go out and see bands and, a boom in the industry. So, I mean, because...
Or something. I don't know. It's like this part of it's like the last to, which is understandable. I get it. It's the last to, at least in Mississippi, bars and entertainment and museums. Anyway, museums are like the last to, down on the rung, but it's about, I think, it's pretty close to, that should be opening soon. So it'll be fun. Yeah. I think.
Aren't there some people, like, can't you play shows outside at some places?
Yeah, I think you got to have like 20 people or less. So, and we did a show in Hattiesburg with Carrie Hudson a couple of weeks ago. We didn't advertise. It was just kind of an invite. I didn't, I was just because I worked with Carrie and
yeah,
I knew the guy putting it on, Chris Puckett, and so it was kind of invite only, and it was like, kind of like a house concert. It's behind his business, so, which is another thing, we do a lot of house concerts. I've been at a lot of house concerts with the guy I road managed for the past 9 years, and it's a thing, we've been doing it forever, and I think maybe that might be where, things may head for a while. Which to me is just a normal thing. It's not, I mean, we've been doing house concerts for a long time. I don't know, man. But yeah, we plan to do some more of those. It's just kind of like a speakeasy thing. It's the down low.
Yeah,
If you know, you know.
keep it on the DL.
Yeah.
Some of it though, I'm really digging. People are starting to come out of their shell more and get online and stream things. Um, Before all this happened, every once in a while you'd see somebody streaming something, but now, I mean, pretty much every day there's somebody streaming something, and you can watch it later. And it's not like just like being there, but somebody will just set up with a guitar on their back porch and play a show, and
Yeah, man.
you can watch it
it's
at your house,
yeah.
or at work, or whatever.
It's an intimate thing, and I've seen a lot of cool interviews too that I probably wouldn't have seen otherwise. That
Mm-hmm.
I've totally been, which is Jeff Kravitz, photographer. He's done some really good streams. I like watching his because he does some really good interviews. But yeah, and it's a good, and a lot of these artists, it's especially ones I work with, it's a good way for them to to make a little income, and people can watch from all over, wherever, that normally would have to wait, I guess, once every year, once every two, or whatever.
Yeah.
And now they can see it whenever,
Yeah.
in their underwear.
In their underwear.
Yeah.
I think, a lot of these, especially the live from a safe distance, has put up a lot of people that I've never even heard of before or seen. And then they get a pretty nice produced live stream, and
yeah, and
you
it
can
sounds
check it
good,
out.
and it's a good video, totally.
Yeah, so
man, it's good production.
It's good. It's good for everybody, I guess. Even the kind of the smaller bands are getting a chance to be put up on a pedestal and
But what's also interesting about all this is kind of we're all kind of like it's a even playing field here, you know. So it's I watched that Willie Nelson 420 stream. It's like, wow, their stream was like kind of crappy, and I loved it. I was like, wow, that's awesome. It's like Willie Nelson, and it's like podunk, and it's great because it's like we're all kind of and it's great.
Yeah,
it's not any better than mine. Anyway, but I loved it.
Yeah, it's kind of like you see. I'm just making up an example. Like if you see Kiss all the time, dressed up in their rock boots with fire shooting up everywhere, and then you get to see Kiss play a show just in their living room, it's a different thing to see. It's more down to earth sometimes, especially with people. I've seen a lot of them just stream from their couches and play a song on an acoustic guitar or something. So
yeah, man, it's an interesting new thing. Well, everybody's had to adapt, so it's for now. So
it might stick around for just live shows in general. Maybe someone will start.
This is my first video chat, so I usually hang up on people when they video call me. I'm like, nope, whatever. So I don't call me and don't video chat. You text me.
So from now on, you were saying earlier that you might start doing video chats with people.
Yeah, this may be my cherry popper.
So
unfortunately, I've entered the dark side now. Thanks.
So appreciate now it. everybody at home listening, feel free to call him on video anytime, day or night. Video chat.
Yeah, and I'll hang up on most of you.
Well, video chat is good. I just had a baby about a year and a half ago, and a lot of times, like if he went off to stay at grandparents' house or something, I can actually see him.
Yeah, man. Yeah, well, I'm glad. Yeah, they didn't have that when I was a kid.
Yeah, so it's good.
That phone call,
and you can't really talk to a baby that can't talk yet on the phone. So it's been good.
Yeah, but they can work YouTube. I knew 2-year-olds that were working YouTube. I'm like, wow, Nuts.
My kid's first word, like the first word that he meant to say, that I asked him to say it again and he said it again, was Google. But
Awesome.
because we have the little smart home in our house where I can tell it to turn the lights off and stuff, and
I love Google.
and we say it all the time. And then just one day he said it, and I asked him to say it again, and he kept saying it.
Google's awesome.
Yeah, and terrifying. It's a little of both.
It is.
A little of both.
I used to, yeah.
Go ahead. You used to.
No. People used to ask me things. I'm like, man, do I look like Chugel? You know. I'm like, why am I looking up stuff for you? It's just you're easier. I love Google. I love it, man. It's like I love looking up stuff.
Yeah, I mean, when I was growing up, if someone said something you could be like, man, I don't think that's true, but I don't have any way to know if that's right or not. Now,
yeah, let me take a drive downtown to the library and look up. Yeah,
and get the encyclopedias out.
It's like, hold on, we're gonna Google that. Seems right. You know, it's a beautiful thing. Love it.
Is not anything you want to know in your pocket. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
So I saw something, and you don't have to talk about this if it's not something you want to talk about. But I saw you posted a picture about you've recently slimmed down a little bit, lost some weight.
Yeah, man. This is not this is not like a flattering angle too for this phone.
It looks, but yeah, it looks fine on this end.
But yeah, I've lost a good bit of weight, and just decided to feel better, I guess. I don't know, look better mainly.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't know, I just January 3rd, 2019, just decided I was gonna, change, and I do it, and I exercise every day that I'm home. So yeah. It's been interesting. Sometimes when I'm walking, I'm like, man, I can't believe I'm doing this. Is nuts. What am I doing? But I didn't start walking till last summer out in Colorado, because we go out to Colorado every year while we're on the road, and playing shows. And I was like, I got some shoes, light trail running shoes, because I figured, we'd be doing some trails, and just started doing like 2 to 4 miles, and then one day I did 7. I'm like, shit, if I can do that in Colorado, I'm sure I can do that at home. So I started in the fall doing walking out here too, but I do other stuff and planking and
all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and I push myself every day. Even I hate sometimes I wake up like, I do it, So
that's good. I recently did the same thing. I got the biggest I'd ever been in my entire life, and if you saw a picture of me, you'd be like, "Yeah, you were."
Yeah, me too. That photo I was kind of reluctant to post it. I was like, Jesus. I was like, because it was from a Christmas, my mom's, and I was like, me and her both went back and looked at the photo because I went and saw her. And I'm like, did I really look that big? She's like, yeah. I'm like, God. So we're like looking, and it's like, wow, I really was that big.
You don't really realize it. I didn't realize it till my wife walked in, and just one day, in the nicest way possible, she was just like, "You're getting fat," and I was like, and then at that moment, I looked down and realized that I had let myself go. So I didn't exercise. I just ate. Completely cut out sugar and candy and sodas, and ate healthy food, nothing from the inside aisles and all that stuff, and feel a lot better.
Yeah, I was never, much of a. I stopped soda long ago, but yeah, you just have to, I just if I have snacks, it's like fruits or vegetables. I don't. I eat a lot of salads now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And,
That's good.
so it's been a interesting thing. Yeah, I push myself a lot, and every day I love running, man. I love walking. I do more walking than running, so I'm not gonna lie about it. It's a lot more walking than running.
Yeah.
I love it, man, especially downtown, and you get to see these houses that you see when you drive by, but when you walk by, you're like, wow, I just never noticed how beautiful these houses were,
Mm-hmm.
and how good it smells too. When the flowers and gardenias, whatever they are, it smells good downtown. But it's nice to walk and have a new perspective of the houses that I've seen all my life. But I've never really walked a lot on those streets, just as much as I have recently, and it's
Yeah. Me
pretty
either.
nice.
I've driven by. I've never been walking down there except for actually in downtown.
Yeah, you walk by some of those houses, like, man, wow, never noticed that on this house. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
And I like shooting photos down there too, So.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I noticed you post a lot of like flowers and things like that.
Yeah, that's the macro lens, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's pretty cool because I got this little picture, this app, which there's a lot of apps to identify plants, but this one's just been the one that I like. And I've learned a lot about wildflowers in the area, and there's only like 7 or 8 kind that grow on. And same thing in Colorado. I just had a new perspective. You could see little flowers, and like, wow, I never noticed that. And some of them look like faces, and but yeah, I love. I don't particularly like flower. I'm not take like a flower. I want like a weird shot, like the little stamens or whatever. I like that kind of stuff.
That's cool. Stuff that you don't normally see.
Yeah,
just walking
I like.
by.
Yeah, I guess it's how my warped mind thinks, which I guess is a good thing.
Yeah,
sometimes.
Got to be a little different. Otherwise, it just comes out the same as everybody else's stuff. Yeah,
totally,
sure.
Totally.
So I have a bunch of your pictures here, and I thought we could just go through and talk about some, and maybe tell me, about the pictures. And
let me pull this up. I mean, my computer here,
and also got some that I like the best. My favorite ones. I started going through, and when you said I have a lot of pictures, I was like, oh, I bet he's got a lot of pictures. You have a lot of pictures. Like, I started going through, and I was like, I picked out, a good amount, and I was like, I wonder if I can just get to the bottom. And I never got to the bottom.
Well, there's some of these I'm like, where did he? I don't even. Yeah, like, damn, that's way back. But yeah, my Instagram, I think it's almost close to 7,000 photos, and I think there may be like 3 of me, maybe 2. But I've been on Instagram for like 9 years now. So when I first found it, I was actually using my iPod actually, because I think it came with like a Hipstamatic app on it, and that's when I started using Hipstamatic, and then putting it on Instagram. And I thought they were connected, which they weren't. But so I've been on there almost 10 years now, so that's probably why there's so many. But that kind of averages out to like 650 a year.
At least 2 a day. Wow.
Yeah, something like that. But it's not really 2 a day. Sometimes it's 8 a day, and then none for 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you on that one. So, looking at this thing right here, we can talk about any of these that you want, or I really
are these the one?
I'm looking
the ones
at
that you picked out.
We could do those, or we can talk about the ones that you.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, go. Yeah, I don't know, whatever you're at.
Well, let's see the ones that I picked out. The kind of photos I like are, I mean, I like a good, regular picture of somebody that's taken well and it's got like a technically good photo. But I also like photos that uh, I don't know, artistic in a way, like real something unique and like a different perspective or shot on them. And the first one is this one with the chair. I think you said it was a long exposure, and it looks like
Oh yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's me. That's
yeah.
before I lost weight. That's
Oh,
like 5 or 6 years ago, and we're somewhere down in Florida, near Alabama, I think.
yeah.
Perdido Key area.
Yeah, you can tell it's got a. It was a long exposure, and it's got, like the wind was blowing, maybe the clouds moving by pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a pretty cool photo. It's
Thank you.
the looks like, and the thing is it didn't get your whole body. It just got your head and it looks kind of like a Dracula. This would be a great like Halloween photo to post.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that was one of those. Like I didn't know what I was doing or what was going to happen, but I was like, all right, well that's kind of cool. It's kind of ghostly.
Yeah, and the little barn thing in the background is also um, real scary looking.
I think
Cool.
that's actually, you know what? That is it's not a barn, but it's somewhere we stayed. It was after a gig somewhere, and I'm wide awake. So I was like, oh, I'm going to go down by I guess we might be on the back bay. And they had a chair sitting there. So, but yeah, that's one of those long exposures. Yeah, you always play around with those and a little light. It's always interesting what can happen.
Yeah, it's cool. And the next one in row is the Hulk Hogan, and this is
Oh, that's Chris Benoit. Yeah, Chris Benoit, and oh shit, my battery's getting low on my phone here. I'm going to just a second. Yeah, that's at the brewery, and that was they're wrestlers, so we have to like get them to do something very 80s wrestling,
yeah.
and that was it. It was like trying to get a little action shot. It took a few tries, and that was kind of the best one. It could have been a little better, both feet off the ground, but I like it.
I think that both his feet are off the ground.
Yeah, I think they are. Almost, yeah.
Unless
yeah.
But what I
Chris
like
is always fun to photo.
Is yeah, he's a character, for sure. I had them on the show a while back. Gator Fight was on. They were really awesome guys. The two girls in the back that look well, one of them looks happy, the other one looks pretty nervous about the whole situation. That's what's awesome.
It's all that. Look at it, it's all 80s wrestling with the Piggly Wiggly head.
Piggly Wiggly. Let's see. The next one, this is one of my favorite ones. This looks like it should go on like a movie, like front of a movie or something. With the man like canoeing. I guess he's canoeing. He's in a boat.
Oh, that's Charlie. That's Charlie. He's a river guide out at Rancho del Rio in Bond, Colorado, and that he took us out on the and that's Corky. Corky in the background, the guitar player who I road managed, and Grayson's son. And then I was on the raft with Charlie. And honestly, that's with my iPhone. I just turned my iPhone. I'm like, because he was kind of laughing. And Charlie's laugh is great. You have to hear it.
I mean,
and I just turned my iPhone. I'm like, and like, holy crap. There was a dry box and there was a dry bag. But I was just like, man, I'm not taking my Nikon. I have nightmares about being in water with my phone and my camera.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just going to have my phone. And that happened. And, I've sold a lot of those photos, actually, which is crazy. But, yeah, Charlie, he's very photogenic. He just looks cool.
Yeah, it's good.
And he's a cool dude.
It's a very, very well composed photo.
Thank you.
And the next one is this girl playing what looks to be Jenga. I just liked it. I thought it was cool.
Yeah,
I,
man, that's Bert's wife.
yeah, I like how you
But
shoot through things a lot.
oh, thank you.
The
Yeah,
the
thank you.
the foreground and the background, it adds a lot of depth to your photo. A lot of people will just be like, guys playing guitar, I'm gonna take a picture of the guy playing guitar. You'll shoot through somebody standing in front of you, him or something, or like
Yeah.
the
Well,
bass
that's
player.
that's why. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I like doing that. I'm like, well, it's like how many times can I do the same shot? But yeah, it's like, well, you see it. Sometimes I just see it, and there's like a little space between something. But I like those photos too. I like obviously, but yeah, I like it's almost the power of three, which I never knew about. I still don't know about, but it's there sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love shooting through things and a little blur here and there, and then something's in focus.
Yeah, for sure. The next one, this is one is out of the ones I've seen so far, this one's my favorite one. It looks, I assume this is the Hattie's Burlesque, and it's a girl in a circle of pink
Yeah.
something.
Oh, uh, yeah, that's Amanda. She's one of my favorites, the photo, because she's just very photogenic. But that was the fabric that Abigail, she's one of the Abigail and Rebecca. But Abigail, or whoever put, it's just this kind of sheer stuff that was on the side. It's all different every time, but
mm-hmm.
It's like one of those things. You're like, oh crap, I can see there's this little hole, and I just like that because it's not the normal shot I get. I don't know. It's just there. You see it, and you're like, well, if I don't do it, I don't do it. So I better do it.
Yeah, I like it. It very much draws the attention to her. She's got a great pose going, dramatic pose, and it's some sort of cloth or clothing or something around the camera, which goes into the theme of what's going on. I just thought this was a really awesome and interesting photo.
Yeah, and she's real photogenic, and burlesque, man, Hayes burlesque. They're always just one of my favorite things. The photo every year.
Yeah, a lot of those are really good. The next one is it's a guy playing a saxophone with his eyeballs popping out of his head. I wouldn't say this is like the best technical photo. It's just it's an interesting photo because he's either
Chris.
He's either being funny or he's dead serious.
No, he's being funny. He's just the dude's a trip, man. That's Christopher Spees Jr. He's a great saxophone player out of Mobile, Alabama. He played with Samantha Fish for a while, and I've known him since he was a teenager, and he's just a really nice guy. And that's backstage at Laurel Theater, and I just like their backstage because it's kind of old school. And I just like it. It's kind of drab and it's old school. And he just, he's a funny dude, and he likes to, I think he's used to me shooting photos of him too, so that's a good thing because I've been doing it for a long time with him.
Yeah. Next one is a parade and what looks to be a guy playing a guitar and a guy with a drum. It looks like a Mardi Gras parade.
Yeah, that's Grayson Caps. That's who I road manage. And the guy playing the snare, that's John. He lives here in Laurel, John Milham. And that's Chris, the saxophone player you're just talking about back there, right beside the drummer.
Oh, okay.
This is Joe Cane Day in Mobile. Something Grayson's been playing for a long time. And Joe Cane Day is like the Fat Tuesday in Mobile. And we do a little second line coming into Callahan's where we play Joe Cane Day. Many other shows. But so yeah, I love shooting that every time. Unfortunately, I can't participate. I would love to be in it, but I'm like, well, if I'm in it, then I can't shoot a damn photo. You know, like,
Well,
I'd rather shoot the photos. So yeah, man, I love it. Every year, it's like trying to capture good, you know. And luckily, Grayson's, just a very photogenic dude. So
yeah, yeah, great picture. Um,
thank you.
the next one is of kingfish. One
Oh
thing,
yeah, man.
one thing I like about your photos is your borders. I've never thought to do that, to put a white border around the digital photo. It makes it. I don't know what it's doing to the photo, but it just makes it pop. You know.
Wow, that sounds just like the guy who told me how to do that. That's just what he said. Don't make the photos pop.
It pops.
And I'm gonna I'll go ahead. That's secret. Some things should be a mystery. But Danny Rawls, he's a photographer in Hattiesburg. He's been a photographer for a long time. Who is absolutely just amazing. But he also was a professor of photography at USM. So before he retired, so he kind of knows what he's doing, and
yeah.
he does my printing, my photos. And he's the one that showed me how to do that. So there's some things that he does with his, they're a little different from mine. He's not taught me that yet. He's not showed me, which I totally understand.
Yeah.
He gave me little basics, and I've been doing it ever since. And much thanks to him, because they really do, you know. But also, I'm also in the school of I do something for a long time and I get tired of it and I move on to something else too. So I'll do this. I don't know how long, but for now, it's what I dig and I like the way certain stuff looks. Even too, it's like I'm shooting a photo and I'm like, ooh, this is gonna look good with a white border around it.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like it.
But
I
yeah,
like that.
thanks to Danny for showing me how to do that. And Kingfish, man, that was a great show in Hattiesburg, dude. That was
See, here's
yeah.
what made me mad about that show is I saw your pictures after the show and had no idea he was going to be there. Otherwise, I would have gone to the show. And
I think it might have been sold out, man. I don't know. It might have been a sold. It was freaking packed.
I can
I
imagine.
don't know. Maybe it wasn't sold out. I don't know, but it was a lot of people there. It was in the back room of the Hippo, and my favorite shot from that night is when he was coming through the hallway, and I just there was a few photographers there, and I'm the only one that got the shot. But and sometimes that's the best shot if you're the only one. You
Yeah.
don't have to be the best, but if you're the only one.
That
But
that's
yeah, he was playing through the hall. He went through the back room or the front room, to go to the back. And I was just in front of him, just like kind of looking behind me, like, God, I hope I don't fall. I hope I don't fall. And then when he got that hallway, it was like, oh crap. Like, oh God. And that's my favorite photo. So just because, I was kind of the only one that got it, and then he sat on a chair and played, and there was no other, so that was a great show, man. That guy's a badass.
I know.
Good Lord.
And I missed it.
Yeah, he's great, man. And he's 20 years old. He's already a legend.
Yeah. He's doing something. He's got something channeling.
Yeah, he's got soul.
The next one is a guy pouring a glass of wine for a lady. To me, it's got the the chair up front, kind of focusing the direction towards the people, and it's almost like you're catching like a little. Maybe he's pouring it for himself. It looks like he might be pouring it for the woman.
He was pouring it for her. Actually, that guy, he hired me to shoot those photos because that's when he was. This is the first time they'd met. They'd met online and they'd chatting for like a while, like a year or so.
Wow.
And he was a big fan of the Frog Pond. This is down at the Frog Pond in Silver Hill. the house concerts we do, and he hired me to shoot the photos of them meeting, which is awkward and really interesting, because that's some real shit, and I like capturing that kind of stuff. And I was like, all right, pay me, I'll do it. And I'd never met him, so
Did
like,
did she
my stuff.
know that you were taking them?
Uh, I can't remember if she knew. I maybe, I also a guy hired me one time to shoot him proposing it out there, kind of almost in the same spot. Oddly enough,
Hmm.
I don't think they knew each other, but yeah, he hired me to uh shoot him proposing, and this couple was the first time they'd met. So yeah, so he's trying to be, want to be kind of sneaky and not like,
Standing right in front of them and stuff. Like,
yeah, be that little fly on the
yeah,
wall. And
yeah. I like this.
you know,
He's it. You're
we did some with him posing and all, but
yeah,
he wanted some with just candid. So
yeah. It's a very candid moment. These are the kind that I personally like. When it comes to posing, that's fun and all, but I like catching people doing whenever they're not paying attention. That's when you catch these
oh yeah, totally, yeah,
moments like
totally.
this. He's pouring her a drink. She's seems to be happy. Um, I really dig this
Yeah,
one.
there's a lot of musicians I like to try to get like that too. Sometimes I have the luxury of being around some people, but then again, there's a lot of times I don't take photos, but yeah, I like the candid, real moments,
Yeah.
not posed for sure.
Next one is it appears to be Snoopy, a Snoopy head.
Oh yeah,
This one just looks kind of dark and menacing. It's got like a cartoon character head. Maybe you didn't mean it in that way, but to me, it's on a stairwell. It's got the shadow on the face and stuff.
I'm totally cool with dark. I like dark. Yeah, that's from I help uh John Milham here in Laurel puts on Charlie Brown Jazz Christmas every year in
Mm-hmm.
Laurel, at Laurel Theater, and in Mobile at the Sanger Theater. And the head was sitting there. I'm like, oh my god, that's going to be a good photo, because it was not, I didn't, nobody was told to put it there. It was just there, and happened, yeah. Like that's going to be a good black and white, and it's like it's only got I like the one eye too, like a cyclops.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I mean, the lighting's perfect on it. The
Well, thank you.
it's almost like a triangle. It's almost like a spotlight on the head itself.
Yeah,
Really really cool picture.
thank you.
Um, the next one is this guy. It's a guy with his mouth open playing and then someone playing bass. One of the things where
Oh
you're
yeah, that's
shooting through.
Roll Horses. That's Daniel Firth
Oh, okay.
on drums, and that's Kenny Paul bass. That's one of those. Yeah, it was just like, man, this is too good not to not photo it. So
Yeah, that one's great.
yeah, Daniel's pretty. He's pretty expressive when he plays. So
Yeah,
I like to photo him.
and I don't know if I had any more. I think that was all I had.
Well, there's one. There's a few more. There's like but yeah, like
Unless
drop trucker.
let's see. But oh yeah, so there's uh, got some people playing in a band with a Les Paul gold top and tip tinnies.
Oh yeah, that's Drive By Truckers. That's Patterson Hood. Yeah, man, I love those guys. Uh,
It's a cool picture. It's
over yeah. Luckily, over the years I've become friends with Matt, the bass player, and he hooks me up when they come around, and if I'm free, and so I get to come shoot. And um, I love those guys, man. They're awesome, dude. Super super nice guys, and I like their attitude too, and their songs, obviously. But
yeah,
And they're a little more lenient, It's like, their their tour managers never really like hassled me about shooting more than three. But it's like you don't want to shoot too much. You don't want to be down there in front of the band the whole night. That's kind of intrusive.
Yeah.
So, because I know how it is, and but they're pretty cool, man. They've always been super nice to me, and you know, so.
Yeah.
But I like
Also,
photos, man.
I really like that the Les Paul he's playing. I love a gold top, and he's got some P90s in that SG. So uh, I approve of
Yeah,
the.
man. Patterson's a badass dude. He's awesome. He's one of the best, man. Such a good songwriter too.
It also looks like they're rocking some Fender twin reverbs. Yeah, they all got great. I haven't heard them play, but it's got to be good. Coming out of that
It's
stuff.
loud as shit. It's loud as shit at that photo pit. I'll tell you that much. Like, but you hear the stage sound. You don't necessarily hear front of the house speakers, but you hear those gnarly amps, and you're like, wow,
Yeah,
man.
it's cool. Let's see. Um, we can go through these. We can kind of go through these quickly, so we don't, because I can talk about these all night. The next one is a
Yeah, there's
girl.
only like one or there's only a few more.
Um, it's a girl with a heart shaped ring thing.
Oh, that's at Hatties Burlesque.
How's burlesque? This one's good because she's not dead center in the photo. You can see the girl in the background. In the bokeh with her hand up. It's a heart shaped like a heart. That's a really good photo. This one with the guy playing piano, where you can see his reflection in the piano and what appears to be maybe Christmas lights, a Christmas tree
Yeah,
or something.
that's at Charlie Brown Jazz Christmas, and that's Chris Spees, who's that that you were talking about, the saxophone player earlier.
Yeah.
That's his dad. Um, Chris is a phenomenal piano player. And that was through the Christmas tree on stage, kind of beside him. And yeah, it's like a neat effect without being an effect. It's just shooting through the Christmas tree. And yeah, I've always loved uh, reflections, and I always like piano with somebody's hand, or I
Yeah.
always like reflections.
Yeah. I
I like-
really, really dig this one. That one's really good.
Thank you.
Um,
That's been one of my favorites that I've taken it to.
then the next one, it's I guess it's the guy that you manage again. He's leaning over a crowd, holding an acoustic. What I
Yeah,
like,
that's at Frog Pond. That's at Frog Pond that we do down there in Lower Alabama. And that's one of the bands I road manage. That's Willie Sugar Cats, but that's Grayson there of the crowd. That's um
yeah, I like how
that's
this it's almost segmented in the dark part of the band, and then he's kind of leaning over into the more bright crowd, so it's split, and you got the big tree in the background. I like that.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to shoot that, because I kind of know when he's about to do it. I know what song it is when he's going to do it. And he doesn't do it every time, but I kind of know when he's going to do it. So, but you're shooting on stage and you're like, well, shit, I got to change my settings now, kind of, because he's, the sun's out on the crowd, and you don't want to white out, which, it's a little bit, but, so it's just in trying to catch it. But yeah, it helps to have the wide angle for that too.
Yeah, for
Sometimes,
sure.
but yeah, I kind of know when he's going to do it, so I kind of have that advantage. But yeah, he does. It's the only time he really kind of gets out. I mean, he kind of does it at shows, but there I like it just because of the perspective of being on the ledge and the crowd.
Yeah, you get to see both. A lot of times you see from the other directions instead of from the side. Like
And the big ass cedar tree in the background too.
yeah, that was really good. Um, and then Mississippi Shakedown. Well, I assume that's Mississippi Shakedown.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
Chad.
Um, that one's good. You know, in the
Yeah, I love that one.
middle of a rock.
His hair, yeah. He's fun to photo when he starts rocking out.
Yeah. Um, and then this big recording console. Uh, me myself being into that, you know, the fact that um, the person in here looks so small compared to how big the deck is.
Yeah, that's a Neve too. Um,
$100,000
that's
console
it,
or more.
it's one of those, man. It's that's Trina Shoemaker. She's she's Grayson's lady wife. So she's I think she's won like 4 Grammys now for engineering and mixing. She may be the only female that's ever won Grammys for that, but she just won the last one. She just won was recently with Tanya Tucker's new album.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she's quite the engineer mixer in the world of music. If you look her up, she's got quite an impressive credit.
Well,
Credits, yeah, it's pretty wild. And yeah, I've always loved, you know, I love shooting bands, recording, and that whole thing. And yeah, I love that perspective of soundboards, like the long, just kind of thing.
there's like so much stuff, you know, and
Yeah,
one person. Um,
and I've just always loved soundboards. I've just always been fascinated. So.
yeah. So the next one is really interesting. It's the guy shooting from the back. You're shooting his back, and it's completely black, but there's just like a faint, well, not a faint, there's a bright outline around his body.
Oh yeah, man, it's crazy because I guess that's like 3 photos from the Charlie Brown Jazz Tour. uh, because yeah, but
Well,
yeah, that's actually I think that was in Laurel. That was John Milham, listener in Laurel. So I was walking behind. I think it might have been during sound check, and then I was walking because I wouldn't have walked behind him during the show because you would have been able to see me. But that was during sound check, and I was like, "Oh crap!" Because I love backlight, you know.
mm-hmm.
And then I was just like, "Oh shit, man! It's like this edge." You know, and then I made it black and white, you know, kind of did the contrast a little bit and whatnot. And then he used that actually, his album he released, he used that inside. That was the inside fold out thing. So
Yeah, it's good. It almost
that was
looks
cool.
like someone drew it, you know.
Yeah,
On a,
yeah. That was one of those luck, man. You're like, you know, you kind of see it. You don't know till you see it on your screen. You're like, whoa.
yeah,
Wow, man, that was a good lucky shot.
yeah, that was good. Um, and then I have another one from this that I picked. I say I have another one that I picked. What from where at the parade. I just liked how animated the guy looked in this one. You know, like dead in the middle of a rock. He's on the right holding an acoustic.
Yeah, Grayson. Yeah, that's that Joe Kane, man. That's our Joe Kane. Joe Kane Day. Second line in to. And it's a real interesting history if you look up Joe Kane. Actually, Mobile Mardi Gras. It's a real interesting facts about Mardi Gras there.
Yeah, Mardi
Kane.
Gras started there, right? In Mobile. Like I guess
Yeah,
it's known more in New Orleans as like a thing, but in Mobile is where it really started. From what I've
yeah, and then
heard, that's where it started.
yeah, and then it disappeared, and then that Joe Kane guy uh, kind of brought it back in the 1800s. So yeah, if you check out that history, it's really interesting.
Yeah, for sure. This next one was like, let me tell you what this. It's the guy at the brewery, the brewery. brewery. I don't know why I'm having such trouble with that. But
Better saying craft beer producers.
yeah, at the craft beer production facility. It,
It's just not as doesn't
um,
have that ring.
the but it's a guy playing acoustic guitar with another guy in the foreground, completely blurred out black, and it reminds me of like the old selling your soul to the devil type thing, and this is like the man in the pinstripe suit watching the guy about to approach. It's just me making up shit, but that's
He's like, "Bird play another song. I'm gonna shoot this song, bitch."
or that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I think that was J.W. Taylor, maybe. Oh, and I forgot the other guy's name. I feel so bad now. They were so good too, man. But yeah, I was kind of sitting because I always kind of put my camera bag on that table, the same spot. I kind of had my little spot I would kind of be, just because my camera bag was more reachable and whatnot. And like, oh man, try to shoot that. That might be a good shot. And came out pretty good. So thank you.
Yeah, awesome. The next one is it's Chris Hosey and his popsicles, the Lob Lolly popsicles. I work with him is why I picked this one. So yeah, he's a real.
I was like wondering. I was like, that's interesting. That he picked the popsicle one. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I just know I work with him and we talk coffee and stuff all the time. So that's why I picked that one. Actually,
yeah, I used to have a thing where I guess I still do, where I like get people to, if I have my 50 millimeter 1.4, and I'm like, I like to get people to put stuff outstretched.
Yeah, you had another one of a guy holding coffee beans or something. I don't know what it was. I guess I forgot to put that one.
Oh, that was that was pellets. That's my buddy Chad in Salina, Kansas. He has a record press plant, but that was what vinyl records look like when they come in a box. Well, not with the records. That's what the records are made out of. Those pellets.
Oh, okay.
That's what they are before they're made into a biscuit.
A biscuit. Oh yeah, the little
biscuit
before
pressed.
Before they press them, yeah.
Yeah, that's the biscuit, and then but yeah, so that's how they came, and I was like, oh, dude, yeah, so.
The next one is a guy and a lady playing. Yeah. Looks like you're in a window, and what it looks like to me, and I don't know if this is what it is. Maybe a double exposure or
yeah, it's a double exposure.
Yeah, because it looks like the same lady. This one just looked interesting because they're right next to each other.
Thank you. That's Blue Mother Tupelo, and that's at the Frog Pond down Silver Hill, Alabama. And yeah, that was a double exposure. And man, I can do triple. I could, and it's just it's just I don't know. It just never crosses my mind half the time to do it, But it's fun to do them, it's a whole world of double, triple exposures you can do.
Yeah, it's cool.
And get interesting results,
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. That might be.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's all the ones that I picked.
Yeah, it's all the ones you picked.
So yeah, I mean, awesome photos, man.
Thank you.
Really like them, and then you got a whole thing here. If you want to go through the ones you picked and talk about them.
Yeah, or you can ask me about some of them. Well, obviously there's one. We did pick out one.
Yes, we
of the same.
Oh yeah, the guy, the silhouette.
Yeah.
Here's one that I want to know the backstory of.
All right.
And hopefully I don't. I guess this is allowed to show on Facebook. It's art. There's a.
Oh, nice. I know which one you're going for.
Yeah, there's a nude woman standing in public. It's a good photo. It's symmetrical. You got the foliage and everything going on. But how did you? How did this come about? Was it like, all right, get naked and take a picture and then run off, or like?
Um, she wanted to do some photos for her boyfriend and outside in the woods or something. But she used to bartend at a bar downtown Hattiesburg, and I did the social media for him too. And he's like, "Will you stick around where I count the money?" And I'm like, "Sure, okay." And then she's like, "Just do a photo," and I'm like, I don't know. And then I had another beer, and I was like, "We should do one downtown. We should do some downtown." Crazy. And then and then that's the train depot in Hattiesburg on a Thursday night about 10:30. Probably about, I'd say that's 2014 maybe. Um, and I was like, obviously we had to be fast, because there's kind of a sheriff's substation like right by
Yeah.
there, or some kind of police substation. But I had my camera on the tripod, so I had everything, so I didn't, and everything's kind of symmetrical too. So she was like standing on the perfectly, the X of the concrete where the edges are, and I was like, all right, and she took her robe off, and then just like, and like, oh my god, we did it! Oh my god! And then like we pulled it off, literally, so and figuratively. Um, but I think the art, I think the art of that also is that we did it
Yeah.
and didn't get caught. And I don't know anybody else who shot that photo there. I ain't
I
seen it.
haven't seen one. Not that anybody's released.
Yeah. So yeah, and she was nice enough to want to do it, and it's been one of my favorite photos. And I actually have it printed on my wall now. So
Yeah, it's real cool.
it's one of my top 5 photos that I've taken. I mean that I like a lot. So.
Yeah, and it's also got a cool story with it as well.
And we did it without getting caught.
Yeah. That's awesome. Let's see. Another one is this, which I assume is the burlesque as well. It's the girl standing on stage with looks like to be a whip or something, and there's a light shining. You're facing the light.
Oh, that's Amanda again. Yeah. All right. Well, so yeah, in the spotlight, I have to Herman Leonard, famous jazz photographer. Um, there's a photo of Duke Ellington where it's him. It's like the best photo ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like my number one photo ever, inspiration of anything I ever do. Um, Duke Ellington playing the piano, and it's just black and white, and there's a silhouette. There's a light coming down. Him playing. It's just a lot spotlight. And Herman Leonard shot that, and it's. I mean, if I can look at a photo, all day long and feel emotion, it would be that photo, and it inspires me. Anytime I see a spotlight and something like that, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be a good black and white. Oh my god. Because it's just that Herman Leonard photo, and I've shot so many of those. I love the spotlight there. But yeah, I love those kind of shots because the Herman Leonard and Duke Ellington. So if you ever get a chance, just if you Googled Duke Ellington, it's pretty sure it's one of the first few photos that show up because it's the most popular. And Herman Leonard was an amazing photographer that spent his last part of his life, or a lot of his life, in New Orleans. I came like inches from meeting him, but I never got to meet him, but almost did.
Sometimes.
I would have fangirled out totally, probably.
Yeah.
But I love those kind of shots. That's why I picked that one because Herman Leonard being my inspiration for a lot of my stuff.
Yeah. Another great photo. So, there's one of a guy holding a trumpet, looks like in a hotel room.
Yeah,
And this is one of those examples of where you're really close to him, but you got a really wide angle. I assume you're really
yeah,
close
that's
to
the
him
wide
there.
angle. Yeah, yeah,
And it lets you kind of see everything, the whole room, but then you're still up close at the same time. So it's more of an
yeah.
intimate feel.
That was on my. Was that my birth? I think that. I don't know if that's the birth. No, that was on. Maybe that was 4/19. 2 years. Or that's Michael. That's my buddy Mike. He's a trumpet player in Cool in the Gang, and he's been in Cool in the Gang, I guess, for now like 40 years, maybe
Wow.
something, 40 something. And my early days of shooting photos in New Orleans was shooting photos of his band. Happened, buddy of mine was his drummer, and so I just became friends with him. And he's he's been on. I think he was on Porno for Pyro's record, Perry Farrell, and then he's on Fish's first live record and Sun Ra Orchestra since the late '70s, and then Cool in the Gang. And this was at I think this might have been Beau Rivage after the gig that night. Cool in the Gang, and or might have been before. I don't know, but yeah, I like those. It's one of those candid shots. It's like it's one I've been wanting to get for a while, and I like those kind of hotel room shots of a musician.
Yeah.
So.
Another banger.
Yeah, and then I got a few on there. I have a few on here from Laurel Machine and Factory too. That Laurel Machine and Foundry Factory. What am I? Laurel Machine and Foundry.
Right
Which
here where they're pouring the big.
yeah, there's like three. There's four from Laurel Machine and Foundry. Wow, this four. Yeah, Trent, great guy. He hires me every fall to shoot the photos for their calendar, and I love doing it. And it's a challenge. I love industrial kind of stuff, but it's a real challenge to shoot. It's fun, but it's a challenge because it's kind of like the same thing every time, even though they're doing something different. But it's kind of like the same thing every time, and it's like, how do you, it's trying to find something new. Which I'm supposed to do next fall. I'll have an exhibit at Lauren Rogers Museum of Art with 3 other photographers, and
That'll be cool.
that's going to be my photos of Laurel Machine Foundry will be in the exhibit with the other photographers. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really.
But yeah,
awesome.
man, I love the Laurel Machine and Foundry stuff. Um, I like the one too. It's like Trent's walking down the one over here under the car. Trent walking between the stacks of steel, I guess.
Oh yeah.
And he's like talking. He's got his hand up. I love that one.
Yeah.
And then the one next to it with a guy in the tunnel kind of thing.
Oh, the guy welding. I didn't know what that was. I thought that was a firework. Now that I'm seeing it on my.
Oh yeah, man. Those two. It's like the astronaut looking.
Yeah.
Got the welding mask on. Yeah, I love those.
That one's awesome.
Yeah, man, it's fun to photo those things. And then I do a lot of the abandoned cars. I like those.
See.
I like yeah, abandoned and the whole weathered look.
Yeah.
Not so much they've been put there because they should be there. They're just there because that's where they died, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, that's.
But
cool.
yeah, I see those old cars, and it's like I see faces in them. Especially the first one up here, looks like a fish or some kind of angry. It's got an angry face.
The DeSoto, this I guess that's a DeSoto car.
No, it's the one up here. It's the top. It's the oh no 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 oh no 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 oh I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was no. It's down here in the. It's like between the silhouette, the backlight of John under the universe, under the Milky Way photos. But yeah, all those cars, man. It's like, dude, I freak out when I see them. And luckily, we travel all over the country, and obviously, you don't see them on interstates. And if you did, it's just you can't get to them.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times, there's abandoned cars on highways. And, we're going down the highway. I'm like, dude, I feel it. I feel it.
I feel it in my spirit.
I feel a abandoned car coming up. And so yeah, man, it's but yeah, my favorite would be the one near the bottom, and it's the Chrysler. I can't remember, but it's like kind of a blue,
sitting in the grass.
Yeah, man, that's my favorite. And thankfully, I have friends that let me know where if they see one that I don't know about. My friend Joseph is a forester and a forager. And so he sends me coordinates sometimes, luckily, thankfully, and then I find them. And everyone he's ever showed me, of course, he takes a photo too, but he lets me, and I'm just like, I'll be there, wherever it is. But yeah, I love doing the abandoned cars. Love it. I've got about I think I'm at about 60 or so now, different abandoned cars. And I always said if I got to 100, I'd think about putting out a book, because that would be 50 pages. And 50 pages is,
yeah,
relatively a good many pages. I like even numbers. So, but I like this, there's one of Big Frida backstage. Smoking, not a cigarette. That was before the show in Hattiesburg 5 years ago. It was all this controversy surrounding the show that was going to happen. And somebody on the Hattiesburg, or somebody on the alcohol, whatever, I don't know, said it was going to be lewd activity and they were going to cancel it. So it got canceled. And happened to be was going to happen at Benny's Boom Room. I don't know, I think. And then some news, like Rolling Stone, got ahead of the hold of the story, and then and it started. It blew up. It kind of like was good, I guess, because then the show sold out and they had to move it to a bigger venue, and it made national news. And Hughes TV hired me, or they needed a photographer for the show, because Big Frida also had a reality show on Fuse TV for a few years at the time while this was going on, and they were also filming the reality TV show. So they needed a photographer, and I was suggested, and so yeah, they just told me, photo all you want, wherever. So, and that's one of those backstage moments that I like getting, So
yeah, that's really cool. I didn't know all that.
Yeah, thanks to the prudes, they thought there's gonna be lewd activity. It's like Bobby Rush shows are pretty dirty, but don't tell Bobby Rush no. And I have a few of the Milky Way photos in there too, just because. I mean, they're not the best, but they're my first ones.
Yeah, these are cool.
They were from New Mexico. 4 years ago, I think. 4 years ago, I think. 2016, maybe. Yeah, that the first one is kind of the orange tinge one. That's we were going into Los Alamos, and that was somewhere going into Los Alamos, New Mexico, and we, as in me and Grayson and Corky, because we had shows out there, and we had to pee. Honestly, we had to. There's like hardly any traffic. It's like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, super dark, or whenever it was, and we had to pull the van off the side of the highway to pee. And I'm like, dude, oh my god, the Milky Way, because there's not very much light pollution out there, so it's a whole different. I think only 10 to 20% of the world's population's ever seen, a good Milky Way. It's I mean, obviously, this is with like a 10, 20-second exposure. So obviously, you kind of see, there's more than what your eye sees. Yeah. But it's pretty mesmerizing when you get out there and it's the vast, and you're like, wow, man, you can really see the Milky Way. But I just said, I got my tripod and my camera and was like, oh God, oh God, oh God. And it took about 6, 7 shots. And I'm like, dude, I got it. And I'm like, high-fiving. I'm like excited because I'd never got a Milky Way photo before.
Yeah.
And then the other one next to it's on played this concert series in New Mexico, and that was in Los Alamos on top of or leaving Perrito Mountain. Played a little ski lodge up there, and just got my tripod and just turned my camera just straight up, almost 90 degree whatever, and that's about a 15, 20-second, 25-second exposure. And I like it because of trees. Trees, you kind of give it a little bit of perspective.
You also caught a meteor right there.
I think that's probably an airplane.
Or an airplane.
Yeah. Unfortunately, those kind of get into photos. But,
Yeah, I've taken a few of these, like the long exposures. I've never shot the Milky Way, but just like out in the backyard. And it's amazing how, like, there's a few stars up there, but then whenever you take a 20-second photo, then you start seeing like the whole sky essentially is stars like this. Just
and then if you can get out in somewhere where there's not much light pollution, you can almost see. It's you have to sit there for a little bit, and your eyes are going to have to adjust for a while. But it's crazy, man, especially out in Colorado. But I have a few long exposures, like this one of Jason Kimes of the sculpture. With him, luckily he's my neighbor, and I say neighbor, I'm like he's 5 minutes from my house. But I think that's like an 8-second exposure with him grinding on his sculpture statue that he made.
Yeah.
So if you look closely, you can see like there's 3 of them.
Yeah.
But I was like, dude, 2 seconds, man, at every, just count like 2 seconds at every time you do a grind, because that'll give that's 6, and that'll give us 2 seconds to kind of, and then that would kind of, that's one of my favorites. We did it for a while, but he had to he had to clamp something in the statue's butt to do that, because he can't grind on the statue.
Yeah.
It's already done. So he had to clamp stuff on the butt, and that's how it happened.
I like how you can see the little pieces bouncing.
Yeah.
Off. That's really cool.
Love that long exposure. And that's like the one under, and there's one under the fireworks, the fairground. That's not necessarily a long exposure, but that's like, I'm having to hold the camera super still and not breathe.
Yeah.
And that's like probably a 1.5, 2-second exposure. Try to hold the camera, which is kind of hard with people walking by at the fair. Hope not bump into you.
That's
or
good.
Or getting the camera.
Yeah.
People like to walk in front of the camera.
Hey, you're taking a picture?
Yeah. And then there's that one of it looks like the one next to it. I shot in December down there at the Frog Pond. Glow sticks. My friends, I had 3 of my buddies Well, there was a couple down from New York, friends of mine that came down. They come down the Frog Pond every year, and my friend Jay was his glow sticks, and we kind of threw some up in the air and was like, "Oh, that's cool," Didn't work out, and I don't know if it was Jay or Mike was like, "Oh, we should throw them at you." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, man, yeah." So I got my tripod and set it up, and was like, "All right, we're gonna do like a 3-second exposure," and counted, and it took about 4 or 5 tries. But that's the one that really came out my favorite.
Yeah, it's cool looking.
Oh, and I've got that blown up at my house. It's 24 by 36, 2 foot by 3 foot. I hadn't hung it on the wall yet, mainly because it fell when I had it sitting on the floor and it broke solid glass. I don't have any room. Like, I have photos like on the floor, kind of. So, it's like I have no more room on my walls.
You could just get some tile printed with your photos on it.
Yeah, it's like, like, I don't have any room, It's like,
well, there's a spot right over that door. There's a spot, one spot.
Oh yeah, but it won't. But it won't fit there. So I love long exposures. There's so much you can do with that, and then the one that I've probably sold the most of is the bubble photo. There's 2 of them. The same photo. It's just one is cropped more than the other. But that was a bubble that was somebody was blowing bubbles at the frog pond, and I just was snapping with my 51.4 and was going through them. I was like, man, I'm gonna see if I got a good reflection on one of these, and I cropped it and was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I didn't notice this the first time I looked at this picture, but it's a full picture.
This is a smokehouse at the frog pond, and that's where we set merch up. You kind of see the little table, and that's where we set merch up during the shows there. And smokehouse that's like my other home. That's where I sleep when I'm down there. But I mean, I didn't do any of that on purpose, other than I was like trying to get a reflection, and that came out. So yeah, that's one of my just my favorites. And of course, the Chris Christopherson, that's been another one I've sold a good bit of. That's about 7 years ago.
Which one's that? With
it's the third one up top, black and white, right next to the DeSoto, Chris Christopherson.
Oh, okay.
And then Bobby Rush, that first one, that's him at sound check with Dwayne Burnside. That's just one of those photos. There's like hardly anybody there at sound check, and Bobby Rush doesn't play acoustic very much. So I was like, shit, I'm photoing this.
Yeah.
And that was, there's a little. It's not as good as I wish it would be, but it's a good moment captured. And
that's good. I like how it's angled too.
Yeah, I'm not much into doing that anymore, but I got hired by a photographer in New Orleans one time to shoot his 60th birthday. I was one of the photographers, which was quite an honor because this guy is just super duper photographer who's caught some crazy moments in rock and roll history. And Sidney Smith, and after we were going through the photos, he's like, "Man, why do you do that? Why you do?" And I'm, after that, I was like, maybe I shouldn't do that anymore. And I was like, yeah, I don't like, so it's one of those things where it's like,
maybe not everyone, but I think that photo's fine the way it is.
Yeah, you're right. It is, but I did that a lot back then. And I'll look at some of those photos and I'm like, oh man, God, I wish I would have had them, but yeah, that's a good one. And it's a good moment captured because nobody else captured it too. So.
Yeah.
I was there, and luckily I was there. And there's also one up top. It's the fourth one, and that's Dylan LeBlanc having a cigarette with Bucket, a three-legged dog.
Oh, okay.
And that was down there at Frog Pond. That was the day after show, probably the next morning, probably 10-ish, 11-ish. And I just like just the way it looked. He's a hell of a songwriter. He's just phenomenal. And I think maybe, and there's like well, the one I kind of knew this guy's name, but really didn't know the history of him until he played at the Frog Pond. He's between the two cars, and he's backstage. He's got a cowboy hat on. That's he's John Doe from the band X. He's like one of the history of punk rock. He's like one of the first. X was like one of the first or big influences, and really didn't know how much of an influence he was until after he played, and I kind of looked like, wow, like I kind of knew a little bit about him, but yeah, and I like those shots backstage, and capturing something that nobody else is back there, shooting it, and I'll get it, And then there's like right below that, and it's like Gurf Morlix. That's at the Frog Pond. He's just sitting there, and this is after the show, and we're all hanging out having a beer, and he was just sitting there, and I'm like, dude, and he let me shoot the photos, and but he was a guitar player with Lucinda Williams for a time. He produced a bunch of her records, and Blaze Foley, and and there's the other one from Hattie's Burlesque, black and white, and that's Emma at the front of the camera because she's really, really just very photogenic, and she's one of my favorites to photo here in Hattie's Burlesque. And Amanda's right by her, and Laquita, and it's like, I don't know, I love shooting burlesque. One of my favorite things to photo. Obviously, awesome women, and there's dudes in it too. But it's just an awesome production. It's like that's a hell of a challenge every year to.
Yeah, it looks like there's always a lot going on stage. There's a lot to.
Dude, it's a workout too. It ain't you're not just like, it's not you're sitting around because they have two sets and they do like 18 like parts each set, and each song is like they do maybe 2 or 3 minutes long, maybe
Mm-hmm.
So it's like and I go to dress rehearsal now if I'm home, which luckily sometimes each year I've been home for at least a show or two if I'm not on the road, and so I can do dress rehearsal, so I kind of know what's going on. I used to not and just go shoot, but now they let me shoot dress rehearsal, so I kind of know what's going on. Yeah, man, it's like you got to move around, and you can't get you got to get out of the way of the dancers. You got to get up, you can't be in the way of the people. It's like put on all black. You don't want to wear any colored anything. Just be all black, so you're not very visible, and you just got to be like, it's a workout, man. I'm like sweating every time I shoot that. I love it. And then right next to it's a bee that's I think that's on a azalea in my front yard.
Wow.
That's with the macro. And they're hard to get, man, because they're moving so fast. But luckily, when you got a shit ton of sunlight, you can jack the shutter speed up pretty freaking fast. So, because they're not, they're always moving around.
You get a very shallow depth of field with that too. Like, I mean, just
I'm pretty sure I cropped that just a tad, but yeah, that's with the 105. That's with the macro, man. I love it.
That's
You know, I love. I go. I got some roses in the backyard, and I go out there all the time and like look like, man, look, there's a bee. But I'm like, man, you know, it's like I can't take enough bee photos. But
You need to go take a picture of the murder hornets.
you know what? I saw those. They have the great faces. You know, it's like, damn. I mean, those things are got like the interesting little alien face.
I
Yeah, I would
know.
love to do that. And I think, and then this other photo is down at the bottom right, and this is right after tornadoes in Laurel in December of 2019. And this is like the morning of,
Mm-hmm.
or the day of, not too long after it happened. And I mean, I don't like, you know, I'm not into like shooting people's misery, you know, but I also like real moments, you know,
Yeah.
and not everybody is like super cool with doing that either. So I parked and I walked up with my camera and I was like, hey, you know, y'all mind if I shoot some photos? I'm a photographer here in Laurel. I like taking photos, real shit. And they were like, yeah. And I snapped a few, and that's with my wide angle. And I've sold quite a few of these photos too, actually. And I have an 18 by 24 of it on my wall at my house too. So it's one of my favorite photos. But they were nice enough to let me do that. And they were all gathered around. You know, obviously, I think their house was without power, so they didn't have any heat. So there was a bunch of people that were outside with fires going on. So, yeah.
Yeah, the more you look at it, the more you see in this picture. Like you start looking, you see a 4-wheeler, and then you're like, oh, well, then there's a whole tree down in the background, and
crutches. Somebody's phone's on the.
I didn't even see the crutches. See, now I see the crutch. So, yeah, you got to really look at this picture, and you can just the more you look at it.
I don't think I've noticed crutches till just then, honestly. Yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, honestly, I mean, there's a little parts of this photo I would be like, I'd kind of, you know, would change, but it's just a moment, you know, and it was a pretty rough day for Laurel. I mean, it could have been way worse. We had some gnarly tornado come through here, but it could have been way worse. And
yeah.
There were some other photos I got of the tornado, you know, but that was it for the one I really, really, you know, just kind of has a. I think. Oh, and there's also that one of guys I road managed, Grayson and Corky, and that's in the hotel room where they were playing. So I mean, there's so many of those moments too that I just never take a photo of just because it's just it's just something that I'm always there. You know, I guess maybe I should take, but I do take a lot. I don't post them all the time. But This is one of my favorites of them. Just, you know, because after a gig, you know, you're not tired. You know, you just don't go to bed after you know, you may be tired, but we're usually awake for 2-3 hours after the show, and we hang out and play music and laugh. And that's one of those photos that I got my camera out and like I'll get it and have it for one day, you know.
Yeah.
Because nobody else is shooting those, you know. It's like if we don't, when we have those photos for one day. So
I like it.
Thank you.
I don't understand. Well, how I can understand, I guess, but how did you not get like the people next door calling you with that giant ass bass?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. It's like wow. But come to think of it, like what.
Because I mean, it's sitting directly on the ground. So if there's
Yeah,
anybody
and then
below you,
bass is a lot. Bass is you can hear a bass a lot easier than a lows like that
maybe
through walls.
they just like the music, I guess. They
Um,
didn't call.
yeah, we've never really had a problem. I mean, they didn't do that very often. But when Corky brought that stand up bass, he didn't leave it in the van, and Grayson never leaves that guitar in the van, so it's always in the room with us. But Corky he doesn't bring that stand up bass anymore. There's obvious reasons.
Yeah.
It takes up a lot of room. So he's got like this NS thing that's smaller and more portable.
Yeah.
So, and I guess that's the reason why I got that photo is because he doesn't. Oh, and there's the one right to the left of it. I'm sorry, that's Fairhope down at the pier area. That's another long exposure.
Yeah, I like the colors on this one.
That's one of my man. That's one of my first ones with my wide angle lens, and I was dating a girl that lived right on top of that hill, so it was easy for us just to go down there. And I like it too because it's like it's almost three different things. You got the right, in the middle, and then that left is all different.
Well,
yeah, that.
I was gonna say it takes like on the left, it's got more earthy, natural colors, and then as it goes to the right, it turns into more almost like a fantasy type, like futuristic type, the real blues, aqua blues. It's real interesting.
Yeah, man, Fairhope, man, that area down there, and their sunsets are pretty amazing there. It's never bad. But that was one of my first long exposures, probably with that lens. I'm pretty sure. Actually, you know what? I think I was borrowing that lens from my friend Beth, and I hadn't got my new Nikon yet. So I hadn't got the 750 yet, I think, and that was with my D72. I don't know, but yeah, that was one of my. I love that photo. I've sold quite a few of those. That's one of my. It was hard to pick out. Hard to pick out photos, man. Like,
well, you got probably 50,000 pictures.
Oh God, it's like,
and not exaggerating, literally probably 50,000 pictures.
Like I told you, I was trying to pick when I got asked that. There was a few of us, and we had to pick out 5 of our favorite photos. I'm like, good Lord, man. Man, that's like having 80,000 kids, and you're like, well, which is your favorite 20? It's like, I spent days, literally, man. It was like days trying to, because you're like, well, this is going to be in a magazine, man. I mean, you got to, like, really, really pick your best ones. You want your best ones to be better than anybody else's best ones.
Yeah, and it's a good time to showcase yourself. So
yeah, and the one of Chris Christopherson was one of those. I think a few of these were. I can't even remember which ones were used, but it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. It's like even when I get prints made for myself. And when I say for myself, I mean for my archives, just to have, because you can't be a photographer without having prints. It's like being a painter. You don't have a painting. I have to have prints. So every week I get prints made, and it's hard to pick out what you want printed. You think and then you go through your stuff, and it's like it's kind of overwhelming sometimes to figure out what other people are going to like. I know what I like. What I like is usually not what other people like. So.
Yeah, I shot a wedding once, and I ended up with a shit ton of photos. But one thing I use is Lightroom, and Lightroom has a very easy like you can swipe through the photos. Essentially, I do it on an iPad, so you can swipe and then literally just start editing and then swipe to the next one. So I'll go through pictures and I'll be like, I definitely like this one was blurry, it was out of focus, and then so that way I can cull them and then go back and I like this one. I rate it 2 stars, 4 stars. Real easy to cull and gather
Yeah.
them, and then you can go back and sort by like 2 star photos, 1 star photos.
Yeah, that's kind of how I do mine. I kind of start my first editing on my iPhoto, and I'll just go through there and I'll heart the ones. It's pretty quick process. I can go through them fast, and then I'll like, I mark the ones I like, and then I'll delete the old ones, and then I go through the ones that I liked, and then I'll kind of weed through those. The beauty of digital, you know.
Yeah.
You can do that. I mean, yeah, and it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah. Print all these and then look at them to see if they were good.
But my favorite part is besides taking the photo is looking in post, and going through them and editing them. I love that. That's one of my favorite. I get excited to be able to pull up my MacBook and look at them. It's fun, man. I mean, I try. Every day I'm like, I need to shoot a photo of something. I don't do it every day, but I try to.
Mm-hmm.
I try to keep my Instagram pretty flowing.
Yeah.
Same thing with my photos. I think it's all art. It should be art. And I try to my post. I want everything to be art, and every photo to be an epic thing, an entity upon itself, I guess. And so yeah, I don't know. I'm still learning, still going and learning. I finally kind of like felt confident when people asked me about photography. I used to get scared. I was like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just lucky. And then finally after a little bit, I was like, all right, I think I'm getting it. But then when I think I get it, I don't know. So, but
that's the way it is. You're always learning. I get people play guitar are always learning something new about it every day.
Yeah, and hell, and if you need, to learn something, just look on YouTube. I mean, there's instructional videos on YouTube on how to use YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, there's
literally everything.
Yeah, it's like I tell people, like, look, man, I'm like anything I'd learned on Photoshop, I learned, pretty much by going on YouTube. Other than Danny showing me like how to properly size my photos to be printed.
Mm-hmm.
I was a dummy before. He showed me that, and he showed me the border. So other than that, I've learned pretty much everything, editing wise on my own or YouTube. So, and it's easy, that's what's great about YouTube. You can watch the instructional video and edit the photo at the same time, and you do that once or twice, and you're like, oh, I got this, and then you got it. So it's there. Anybody can learn.
Yeah.
Do it.
And it's in your pocket.
Yeah, I mean,
everything in the world is in your pocket,
including the phone, which has a camera on it. So
yeah.
I've gotten I've gotten 3 band albums covers from my iPhone. I'm gonna make 3, no 4. 4, I think 3 or 4 with the hipstamatic. It's the faces thing I was showing you, the Instagram. My faces I do in my hipstamatic, which is like 10 type photos, digital wise. I have friends that shoot real 10 type, and I'm nothing compared to what they do. But Yeah, man, I do a little faces series on my Hipstamatic Instagram. I mean, Hipstamatic put on Instagram, and um, so yeah, man, it doesn't matter. You know, it's basically you're snapping a moment. It doesn't matter with what you have, you know. So
Yeah.
I mean, the phones now, quality wise, are just as good as anything that cameras 30, 40 years ago. It's just, and it's easy, you can whip out it's almost everything's kind of automatic,
Yeah, like the new iPhones, for video specifically, the stabilization on the new ones is ridiculous. Like you can
Oh
run,
yeah.
you can pretty much like hold the camera and run, and it's dead still. It's ridiculous what they can do in those
Yeah,
cameras
it's
now.
that's the beauty of my SLR. There's stuff that it does that my phone can't do. But there's also, I can't just whip my D750 out unless I have all my settings correct,
Yeah,
and just but I can kind of do that with a phone.
yeah,
So I mean, there's a lot of moments captured, like Charlie, the guy, on the raft. I mean, that was with my iPhone. I just turned around and snapped a few, and it's like, man, you
yeah,
can't tell, you don't know that and that's the beauty of that, is you can just, like when I'm running, and I'm jogging every day, I could pull out my iPhone and shoot a photo. I'm not taking my damn SLR jogging with me, you know.
yeah,
So, but I can't get certain photos with that I can get with my SLR. So it's you know,
yeah. You definitely can get cleaner pictures uh, with the SLR in lower light, and then bokeh
and there's
is
zoom. You can
yeah,
zoom. And you can't really, as much as you have. There's no. I mean, you can zoom on a digital phone, but you're not really zooming.
yeah,
So yeah, man. I mean, it's all. That's why I've loved Instagram, man. I've loved looking at people photos that aren't photographers that take good photos, and that's pretty inspiring to me.
hmm
That's one thing I love about Instagram and people with iPhones. I'm like, damn, that's not. You're not a photographer. They just took a photo that I was like, why not take that? You
yeah.
know.
Sometimes they'll bust out with some kind of crazy. They'll just spot that they were standing. They're like, "Yeah, I got up under the table to take," and you're like, "I would have never thought to take a picture from there."
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's but I know a lot of photographers that I've never seen them take a good photo with their phone. So
yeah,
there you go. I don't know. It's all a piece of a tool. So whatever camera you have in your hands, the best one there is.
yeah.
Of
That's a
what I've been, you know,
that's a fact.
it's yeah.
It's better
And
than
then
not having
so
one. Yes.
yeah. So I'm like, I love it all, man. I love my iPhone. I love it. So
Yeah. Um. So, uh, we're coming up on 2.5 hours.
I know.
So I don't want to keep you all night. But you are up for best live music photographer, correct?
Yeah, and best of the Pine Belt. Yeah, I was
Best.
nominated. So I'm uh yeah, I'm pretty flattered every year that people, because I'm not, I don't really nominate myself,
Yeah.
or have I, but
Well, hey.
yeah, but no, it's awesome. I'm
Yeah.
not really like, I'm not into contests, but
It's
you're,
good to get recognized
yeah,
for
totally.
your
And if
work.
I'm gonna be, nominated, then I'm gonna go with it, even though I'm not into the whole contest. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome to be nominated. It's like pretty weird too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Yeah. For
damn,
sure.
yeah, people
Um,
do pay attention sometimes.
yeah. So everybody at home, after seeing all these pictures, uh, go vote. They can vote as many times they want or something.
Yeah, once a day. I think you can vote once a day, and I think all the votes now in May till the end of May are count double, and it's best of the Pine Belt. I'm sure if you just Google "best of the Pine Belt," I can't remember the. I know Signature Magazine puts it out, so if you just Google all that stuff, it'll show up.
Google all
or
that
on,
stuff.
or on my pages.
Yeah.
On my.
Google all that stuff. Go vote for him. There's, unless you just are friends with someone else. I don't know. There's no reason not to vote. So go over there and vote. Here's another thing I forgot to say. You are the third Chad I've had on my podcast.
Lord.
Yeah, like
there's a plethora of us.
Chad. A lot
We're
of
the
Chad.
Karens of the male world. Not really. No,
Monster
Brad's
energy
the
drink.
worst.
Yeah. So you have Instagram, Facebook.
I don't have a website yet. I know that's kind of weird. I'm going to work on that for my photo exhibit next fall.
Yeah.
But yeah, Instagram's MCE Photography. Facebook MCE Photography. And Twitter. Twitter's I get a little political on there, so if that bothers anybody, don't come to it.
It's gonna bother somebody.
But it's got my photos. My photos are really,
Yeah.
Instagram and Facebook. Sometimes I forget Twitter. But I'm on there a lot.
So everybody go check out all that stuff. Check out all of his photos. You're an amazing photographer.
Thank you, man.
Real quick, what does MCE mean?
It's funny. As I was saying that, I'm like, God. Well, I don't know. Sometimes I pick something and I stick with it, and it's my initials. And I had told many people this, but I kind of stole it from my half brother back a long time ago. He had a lawn care business, and he called it CME. And I was like, and I had to, and I was coming up with at my first photography page on Facebook. I guess it's 2011. I was making it, and I had to come up, and I was trying to come up with a name along with my Instagram, which I've all been on Instagram, and I've been on Facebook 11 years, but I didn't get my real. Hey, maybe 2010 I got my photography page, and I just needed a name for it, and some people, I don't offend anybody, but there's some really terrible names for photography businesses, almost on the line of like salons and barbershops that have like really funny names. I didn't want to be that guy, so, and probably initials are just as bad, but it's just what I went with, and I stuck with it. I probably could have done Chad Edwards photography, but I don't know. And I'm so far into it now, I ain't changing it,
Yeah.
So I'm kind of stuck with it, I guess.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah,
that's my initials, basically.
I guess I should have thought of that. I wasn't thinking.
Oh,
I was thinking your name started with a. I was thinking Chad was your first name, not the middle. That's why I should have put that two and two together.
And that's the thing. There's, it's good to have a little mystery.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, MCE is my initials because I couldn't come up with anything better.
I think it's fine. It's fine. It's a fine name.
But see, now I have two. It's like MCE or Chad Edwards, and it's like.
But you could just slowly just start to fade it out if you wanted.
I could. I've thought about it.
I think it's fine. I don't think anybody's gonna.
I need words of encouragement. So yeah.
So if you like MCE, give a thumbs up right now. So we'll see what they do. If you don't like it, well, no, let's just People like it.
Yeah, if you don't like it, you should like it anyway.
You should
gotta like it.
like it
You can
anyway.
like it without liking it.
Yeah, just
You know,
don't
I
be a
mean,
dick.
hell,
Yeah.
yeah. Don't unlike it.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I really appreciate you coming on. I really dig your work. You're an awesome photographer.
Thank you, man.
Uh,
I mean, I'm flattered to be that people dig it. You know, I
Yeah.
really still blows my mind that people are into it, and because I never intended to be a photographer. It was just something I was doing, and then started getting paid for it. It's like, well, this ain't so bad.
That's good, man.
But I just, you know, of all the art I've done, you know, writing, and I've done some art and drums all my life, and music and photography. But the camera feels like an extension of my body sometimes. I don't know if it may sound weird, but I feel real. I feel comfortable with a camera. I feels like part of my body sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I can feel that. I know what you're saying.
I like it. I may be homeless one day, but I'll have a drum or a camera or something. I'll be damned if I don't.
You have something,
Yeah.
something to take pictures with.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
Cool, man. Well, yeah, appreciate you coming on the show. Everybody go check out Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. If you ever want to come back on, you do something big, got something new coming out, just want to chat, man, you're always welcome to come back on. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm flattered and honored, and my first video chat, the freaking longest video chat I've ever done, and
probably mine too.
Look, I'm hardly a phone talker too.
Yeah.
I mean, even anybody that, even sometimes my own best friends, I'm like, man, too early, man. I hadn't had my coffee, bro. I'm not gonna say any names out there, Kenny Caraway, but so to do a video chat, so maybe my cherries pop now. Maybe it won't be so. I won't be so awkward now.
Yeah. It's fine. It's just like a phone call that you can see.
It is, except you have to look at yourself, you know, and it's like, God, I've never looked at myself for this long.
Yeah, pretty, but you know,
that I remember.
Yeah, it's part of the whole thing, you know.
Here we are. This is where we're at now.
This is where we are.
Embrace it.
Eventually,
I'm way late to the game.
Eventually, I'm building a studio that will be disconnected from my house.
Okay.
So I'll be hosting when people can, if they want to, we can do it actually in person, and it won't be over a video call. And I think that's a lot better, personally.
Yeah, totally. This ain't, you know, it could be worse.
Yeah.
But I have a few people. I'll send you some names I think you would dig to have on here. I think people would dig to see.
Yeah, man. I'm always looking for interesting people. Anybody, you know. I started off, you know, doing music. I'm a musician myself. That's who I know the most of. So that's who I've known so far to ask on. But I want to have anybody on. So it don't, you know, musicians or cooks or I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, man. I know I've got a few people I would love to. I think that you would dig. So
yeah, for sure, man. Send them. That'd be awesome.
I will.
Yeah. But I'll let you go. So, you know, stay in touch. I'll be following your pictures like I've been following forever anyway. So.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. And I'll talk with you soon, man.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, man. Bye. See ya.